All right, we'll call to order the City Council regular meeting agenda for Monday, August the 11th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. If you'll all please rise and join as Councilmember Cade leads us in an invocation, followed by Councilmember Fernandez with our pledges.
Thank you, Mayor. Heavenly Father, thank you for today, and thank you for the opportunity to gather here and work together on behalf of Pearland. I lift up our first responders, our police department, our fire department. I give thanks for them. I ask that you please keep them all safe from harm as they protect and serve our city. Thank you also for our city staff, for our mayor, and for our city council as well. Please guide us tonight. Give us strength and wisdom as we're here working on this year's budget. Keep our deliberations kind and respectful to each other. Help us listen to each other well, and always remember why we're here. Lord, please watch over the residents of Pearland. I pray our meeting tonight honors the trust that the residents have put in us. May every decision that we make be for your glory and for the benefit of Pearland and the residents. I pray all of this in your wonderful holy name. Amen.
Y'all will join me in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
All right, thank you for that. Thank you for joining in. Looks like we've got a wonderful group of Boy Scouts here with us today. What troop number? 414?
4140.
Ah, gotcha. Well, thank y'all for being here tonight. What badge are we working on? Got it. Awesome. Well, it's a great community to be a part of, and hopefully we can educate you along the way and help you get there. So thank you guys for coming out. Thank all of our citizens for coming out tonight. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here. As we move forward in our agenda, roll call and certification of quorum. Madam Secretary, I'll certify we have a quorum present, as all members are present with the exception of Mr. Patel, who will be absent from the chamber the remainder of the evening. Citizens' comments, they were all on agenda items, correct? We've got several that had turned in to speak, but all on specific agenda items rather than general speaking. So when we get to those agenda items, we will call on you to speak and offer your testimony. So with that, we'll move to consent agenda. Mr. Koza, would you please present a consent agenda items A through B?
Certainly, Mayor. Consideration and possible action on tonight's consent agenda items A through B. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. No staff report needed. Madam Secretary, call for the vote.
Member Koza?
Aye.
Member Carbone?
Aye.
Member Chavadilla?
Aye.
Member Cade?
Aye.
Member Fernandez?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Byram?
Aye.
The motion passes 6-0.
All right, with that, continuing to move forward, we have public hearing number 1. Michael, are you offering this one up? If you would read into the record the reason for the public hearing and then move into your report.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the second public hearing for the 19th annual action plan for the Community Development Block Grant. This will be HUD program year 2025 and City of Pearland fiscal year 26. This year our allocation is $537,831. A little background on the Community Development Block Grant. It is through the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD, and is allocated through the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974. It is allocated to cities who have a population of over 50,000 or counties with a population over 200,000. The City of Pearland met this benchmark in 2006. The spending is fairly flexible at the discretion of the entitlement jurisdiction, so long as it stays within HUD's regulations and the federal uniform guidance. There are 24 different spending categories, including housing, social services, redevelopment activities, infrastructure improvements, and others. The purpose of the program is to incorporate strategies that meet HUD's national objectives, which include removing slum and blight, meeting local urgent needs resulting from things like natural disasters, national emergencies, and catastrophic events. It also serves low to moderate income residents, which are individuals or households that are at or below an 80% MSA income level in areas that are 51% or more low to moderate income. City of Pearland is an exception criteria entitlement jurisdiction in this regard, and they have to be at 42.5% or more in areas within the city. HUD allocates the CDBG funds based upon a formula. The City of Pearland falls under Formula A, which has the population weighted at 25%, poverty weighted at 50%, and overcrowded housing weighted at 25%. Formula B is primarily used for jurisdictions that have a large housing stock that is considered older and usually pre-1940s. When developing the action plan, we looked at several elements, including an assessment of existing local housing and the economy, analyzing certain local conditions, including public infrastructure and neighborhood services, community and public facilities, social and private and public services, housing and economic development, homelessness, nonprofit organizational development, and plans to address any unmet needs or medium to high priorities in the community. As stated, to benefit from the CDBG program, an individual or household has to fall under an 80% MSA limit, and this chart is what we use to determine that. And so for example, in this case, a family of 4 would have to make under $92,900 in order to be eligible for any benefits through the program. This is a list of our CDBG block groups within the city that qualify in that 42.5% or more low to LMI qualification. We are currently in our 4th consolidated plan, which is a 5-year plan that guides our action plans. And so next year we will start development of our next consolidated plan. Currently, our proposed expenditures for the program are social services of $80,674.65, which is the maximum amount that we can allocate under the grant. We have a $349,590.15 allocation for Forgotten Angels for a kitchen for their multi-purpose program or multi-purpose facility. We have a $0 amount for our drainage improvements, and what this is a placeholder in case any of our current drainage programs, such as those on sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a second. Garden O'Day Road, Brooklyn Acres, or Heritage Miller subdivision, if they require any additional funding, that's a placeholder we could use to allocate that funding through that. We also have $107,566.20 for administrative costs. This is for the City of Pearland's internal usage or internal admin costs, and this is not just for this fiscal year, but also, or not just for this program year, but also for funds that are still remaining from prior program years for things like the home rehab program. One thing I did want to address is that in the prior public hearing, issue of homelessness was brought up. We will be addressing that through our social services allocation, through funding both the Pearland Neighborhood Center, and we'll be looking at any other social services or any other nonprofits that may be eligible to allocate that funding, some funding to help with that allocation. We chose the Forgotten Angels to allocate this funding to because we do feel that they bring a lot of benefit to the community and are very responsible and great partners to the city. And also because their program is well underway and is something that we will be able to invest in and not run into any timeliness concerns, as timely spending is a very big concern with the CDBG grant program. So we want to make sure that we're getting into a program that can be expended within the year, if at all possible. All right, a few key dates for the action plan. We had our first public hearing on June 9th. Our 30-day public comment period lasted from June 10th to July 10th. We had an additional public comment period that's still open. That went from July 30th until August 13th. Today is our second public hearing, and we will also be asking for council adoption tonight. The action plan has to be submitted by August 16th. We definitely intend to have that submitted far earlier than that, as that is a Saturday. So with that, I'll say thank you and turn the balance back over to council.
All right, before we get to questions, we'll throw it open to the public. This is a public hearing. Anyone wishing to offer testimony to this CDBG public hearing can go to the podium, give us your name for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Second attempt, those wishing to offer testimony on this program. Third and final time, those wishing to offer testimony and input, go to the podium and give us your name, 3 minutes to speak. Seeing no one moving in that direction, we'll turn it over to questions, comments, concerns from council. Ms. Cade?
I have one question. On slide 3, it says the program purpose, well, the first one on there is to remove slum and blight.
Yes, ma'am.
Have we ever used it for that?
I don't think that we, so far as I know, my tenure here, we have not. I don't know that we've had a lot of slum and blight to remove within the city, but we can't, if we do have something like that, we could, but so far as I'm aware, no.
Thank you.
I was going to say, I think maybe in the first year that we ever got direct allocation, direct funding, we might have removed some abandoned homes that probably more danger being up than good, but it's been very, very few.
I know we have done some through FEMA buyouts to get stuff out of the repetitive flood loss area, and that's where I think most of that's kind of been allocated.
Right. The process is very long, and because it is somebody's property, So, Mayor Pro Tem, you had a question?
Yeah, in reference to the placeholder for drainage funds, how would that work? I'm assuming, based on what I'm reading here, is that basically like the grant is kind of left open in that area? We would have to apply for additional funds if we needed them? How does that work?
So essentially, the CDBG funds do allow you to move funds around after the fact if necessary. We have to go through a process to do that requires us to amend our action plans to move those costs. These drainage programs are currently grant funded through the GLO. And so this would be if we ran into any overages where it was like $100,000 over or some amount like that, we would have the opportunity to amend our action plan to allow that. So we want to have that goal already on the in our plan to make it a little bit easier if we need to on the back end.
The 537 stays the same regardless. So if we reallocated
Correct.
funds, it would either come out of one of those.
It would come out of that, or we would have to allocate from a prior year. We do have some funds that we have allocated to the home rehab program that we could potentially reallocate as needed. So we do have some flexibility out there. We would take a look at what's most likely to hit and be used, and then reallocate it based upon that.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll close this public hearing, move to new business item number 1. Mr. Carbone, would you place that on the table, please?
Thank you, Mayor. Consideration and possible action, Resolution R 2025-137. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We've had staff report as well as questions, comments from council. Madam Secretary, a call for the vote.
Member Carbone?
Aye.
Member Chavia?
Aye.
Member Cade?
Aye.
Member Fernandez?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Byram?
Bye.
Member Koza?
Aye.
The motion passes 6-0.
All right, we'll move to public hearing number 2. Who's doing the staff report on that?
Mr. Buchanan.
Buchanan, okay. Matt, if you would read in the record the reason for the public hearing and then move into your staff presentation.
Thank you, Mayor. This is our request to create a Smith Ranch Road Public Improvement District on approximately 80 acres of area generally located at the southeast corner of Smith Ranch Road and Hughes Ranch Road. So tonight, Mayor and Council, we are going to have our second public hearing. This isn't a required public hearing by law, but at the last meeting, we wanted to have some clarity on the discussion we had around interest cost and payments of the proposed assessment. And so we're going to go into that in a little bit more detail. And that's really a piece that Abdi, who's here with MuniCap, who will speak in just a minute, is at the podium. He'll go into the process, and that's really the next step is the payment process. And then following the public hearing, you have for council's consideration a resolution to create the district. Not assessing anybody tonight, just the idea that we're going to create the district. And then also a resolution relating to the financing of the cost of the proposed improvements that include a development agreement with the Rockefeller Group and a reimbursement agreement with PEDC. So just some context. This is approximately 80 acres, a little less than 80 acres at the southeast corner of Hughes Ranch Road, south down to the north, Autumn Lake to the east, Hickory Slough to the south, Walmart's a little bit further down the road, and then to the west is 288. So back in October of 2022, City Council approved a planned unit development for a portion, a little over 16 acres of this for a multifamily mixed-use development. And as they were going through the process, working with engineering and community development, they realized that there was a problem here of having the capacity to serve this project that had been approved. The previous developer did not move forward with that project, but the Rockefeller Group has since picked the project up. And so just as a reminder, this is what the Rockefellers development will look like. This is just on Smith Ranch Road, 320 unit apartment complex with 2 commercial lots in the front. And you've seen this before when they had a workshop with you earlier this year. So this is just generally the area. It's surrounded by 3 of our sanitary sewer basins that could serve this area. But as you can see, there is a sewer line that comes down Smith Ranch Road, and that was during the discovery process, that line did not have capacity for the 320 units apartments, nor does that line have capacity for any of this ground to the east. So then working at the request of a property owner, the city hired an engineer to look at options, and they came up with 3 options. All of them had high price tags on them, and this option came in at the most cost effective, and it is a $6.1 million project. It would include the installation of gravity lines on Hughes Ranch Road and Smith Ranch Road number 2, and then a lift station somewhere on the Hughes Ranch Road area, and then the sewer would be forced through that force main over to Kirby, and then would go down Kirby into the city's Reflection Bay wastewater treatment plant. So, obviously to do this then, the reason the EDC got involved, because then somehow you have to pay for this $6.1 million. So what we've at that time talked about, there were 3 potential options. A lot of the area of our community, most residents pay a mud tax, but due to the small nature of this area and the fragmented ownership, a mud probably isn't really possible right now. And that would also cause the landowners to start having to pay an increased property tax bill to overcome those, to finance those costs. Then the city could finance these costs through its enterprise fund. But obviously that would include, costs that would go against the water and sewer ratepayers. So knew that really wasn't a possibility with the rate structure we have right now. So then the idea came up that if the property owners petition the city, and they have petitioned the city to create a public improvement district that will pay a portion of the cost of the improvements through an assessment of each property, that will in time pay back the cost of the improvements. So most of the time, obviously, they don't, and we'll go through the financing part. I was going to jump ahead. But I'm going to turn it over to Abdi now, and he's going to kind of go through a couple slides here and talk about where we've been and then where we're going here on this project.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Abdi Yassin with Municap. We're the PID consultant to the EDC and the city. As I explained last time around, the PID process, it is a mechanism that the
Go ahead and turn that mic up towards you.
I hope this works.
Stand it up.
Okay. So this PID is a process that is it's basically a mechanism that's given by the legislature to local governments to provide a mechanism for financing infrastructure. And once that consideration, basically the idea of a PID is floated and is acceptable, then you'll have to go through a certain kind of process to do it. The first one being creating the district. In order to district, the first thing that happens is you gather an opinion of probable cost from an engineer to determine the probable cost of the infrastructure. And then, based on that initial opinion of probable cost, an analysis was done to determine whether or not the pit is feasible. And after that, and after it was determined that a public improvement district can provide the ability to provide the infrastructure to the properties, the next process was receiving petition or accepting petition from the property owners. As Mr. Buchanan mentioned, this is a voluntary process whereby the property owners actually petition the city to designate their properties as a public improvement area for the purpose of financing the infrastructure. So those petitions were received, and based on that, the development agreement was drafted, and I believe the development agreement is also one of the agenda items for consideration tonight. And then council accepted the petition that was submitted by the property owners. And the next step is to basically conduct a public hearing on the advisability of public improvement, which we did one last time around, and this is kind of a follow-up to that to clarify some of the things that were described last time around. And then once the public hearing is completed, the next step will be to create the public improvement district through the approval of a resolution, and that resolution will be recorded with the county within 7 days, and at that point, the district becomes effective. Once the district is created and then the recording, and it happens, the next step, which is actually the true process of attaching an obligation against the properties, is what comes next, which would be the levy of the assessment. In order to do that, the first thing that happens will be preparing a preliminary service and assessment plan. And that service and assessment plan will basically identify everything about the development, identify all the properties that are going to be included in the PID, identify all the infrastructure improvements that are going to be made to improve the properties, identify the financing mechanism. It will also identify how assessments are going to be allocated to each property owners, and when assessment collection is going to be triggered, and the mechanism for collecting, as well as include an assessment roll that shows the assessment obligation of every property within the PID. So that preliminary service and assessment plan will be the next step after the district is created, and you'll have an opportunity to look into that one. And then once that happens, council will accept the preliminary service and assessment plan through a cost determination resolution, and then hold another public hearing, basically set another public hearing for the assessment of the levy. And after that second public hearing for the levy, then if council determines that it is it's an efficient and acceptable process, then the levy of the assessment will be completed through an assessment ordinance, which will again be recorded in the property records within 7 days. So anybody that's potentially looking into buying a property in that particular area will see that there is a PID and there is an assessment attached to each property within the PID.
So tonight, we have before you what I would say is a public-private partnership between the landowners, the city, and the developer. And it's similar to what we did on Business Center Drive back in 2012, and I'll talk about that here in a minute. And this will also complement the Smith Ranch Road construction that's going on. So as I said, $6.1 million. The DA that you have before you tonight proposes the developer will contribute $1.5 million. And then the reimbursement agreement you have before you has the city borrowing the remaining $4.6 million from PDC through a reimbursement agreement. And then the city will reimburse PDC in an amount equal to the city's participation amount as assessments are collected plus interest that begins accruing once the city accepts the infrastructure for use. So the developer in the DA will be responsible for designing, bidding, and constructing the improvements per subject to city approval. Engineering will oversee the process. But then as a benefit to the landowners, the developer will also be responsible for extending water up Smith Ranch Road and then up Smith Ranch Road number 2. And then also, obviously, all the landowners have benefited tremendously from our reconstruction of Hughes Ranch Road, and then now to 4 lanes that was done probably 3 years ago. And now we obviously have brand new road that's being installed as we speak on Smith Ranch Road. So the infrastructure is really getting built out in the area, and then the developer is also responsible for building 2 lanes of Smith Ranch Road number 2 along their property boundaries. So tremendous amount of infrastructure, but it's really this last piece. And then any cost above the 6.1 will be the responsibility of the city, and that EDC will fund, but then not be reimbursed by assessment. So the city is also taking the risk, which is a benefit to the landowners, of any cost above and beyond what's currently estimated. So then the interest rate due on the unpaid assessments will be fixed based on the bond buyer's index, which is based on tax-exempt bonds that will be reported in the month before the assessment. So this is going to be around what the city's borrowing cost is and what public borrowing is, around about 5.5% right now. So then based on the non-developer acreage, because the developer is going to be putting in a payment plus, it's going to be around $79,000 or $1.80 an acre. But all of that amount will be finalized at that resolution that you come to, and then we'll have 2 public hearings on those amounts that the residents will all be notified. All the landowners will get notification again, and they can come here and discuss with the council the amount that they're going to pay. So that's the next step in the process. So just a few things since then that have changed from the published thing. This is the red outline, shows the potential benefiting area of the sanitary improvements. And then the properties highlighted in yellow have either signed the petition or indicated in writing their support. So right now we're at 61.63 acres, or 78% of the recorded landowners and 69% of the area. So since the last meeting, the May tract, which is, I don't know if you can see my cursor, no, to the right, and then the Mosley tract, Mr. Mosley was at the meeting last time, have both signed, send signed support of it. And then we have also removed this tract, which is the Edwards tract, because they do not have access to a public right-of-way. So they will not be able to access the sewer, so that they cannot be a benefiting a property owner. So we removed that 1 acre tract since the last time we had the public hearing. So I also wanted to share with you, so this was on May 19th, council accepted the petitions from the landowners, and this is what the petition read, and I think this is where we got a little confused and didn't reflect in our presentation at the last meeting what was in the petition and what we've discussed. So these assessments may be paid in full at any time, and I highlighted that part, or they may do annual installments. And then the special thing about this particular PID, which is atypical, is that if they don't pay annual installments, they can also wait until the property is transferred or somebody comes in to develop the tract. And so that is unique that we are offering, that if it was a typical bond deal, most cities go out and just do a bond deal, but then I don't think we'd have the support of the property owners right now if we said to them, hey, you're going to have to start making payments as soon as we accept the infrastructure, which would probably be at the earliest October of 27. So, and then it also includes the interest due would be based on that bond buyer's index, as I said before. Now, the city can charge more. The city can charge, I think it's up to 5% over that for a certain number of periods, and then a 2% over that, but we still stuck to just what the bond buyer's index is. So just in more detail, the proposed payment options. So these are 3 options. There's the single payment. So property owners make a single payment of the full assessment amount before the infrastructure is accepted by the city. This option would have no interest applied to the assessment. So what's special in this particular PID is the single payment at time of sale or development. And at that time, they would pay any interest accrued at the time the land sales or transfers. And that's similar to what we did in Business Center Drive, and I'm going to show you the results of Business Center Drive here in a minute. Or they would pay in installments. And if they came in and started to pay installments, they'd have up to 20 years if they started at the beginning, because the city's reimbursement agreement that you have before you tonight is a 20-year agreement with the EDC. So those are the 3 options that all landowners will have to make payments. So then just real quick, I know last time there was council asked questions, and this seems like a lot, and how is it done? And so I just wanted to give you 2 examples of what other areas have paid for infrastructure, and then I'm going to show you just one property here. It's the largest property, just to show you what the impact on that property would be. So this is what is this? Pearland Lakes, just to the east of this site. And I just took a single family home there on 0.19 acres. They have a 50-cent levy. They pay $2,100 a year in mud tax, And so over 20 years, simplistically, just looking at it, just spread that out over 20 years, they're going to pay $43,000 for that one homeowner. So then if you take that same amount over an acre, that would be $217,000 is what an acre in this mud, and this mud's probably 4 or 5 years old, basically. So just to give you a frame of reference of what all of our residents who live in muds and pay property tax that are supported by bonds with interest. Now in this one, it's $217,000 per acre, where we're talking a much lesser amount, but obviously that's for their water, sewer, and drainage, where obviously the water is already in most of these areas and drainage will have to be done on site, but you can see it's proportionate for just one of the 3 potential utilities. And then I apologize, this is small, but so Business Center Drive, so Business Center Drive was a comparable size area of 60 acres. And in 2012, BCAD's assessment of that area was $2.5 million. And this area that we're talking about tonight is about $3.8 million. So this is going to show you the value of what happens when you bring infrastructure to an area. So the total road assessment was $3.1 million, or about $1.20 a square foot. And so the appraised value with the road, so we had to go out in that scenario and do an appraisal, and it came back at about $21 million, or a projected increase of $18.5 million when the road gets put in. So in 2025, the most recent data we have, BCAD has the land only at about $19.7 million, or $7.50. So that's the BCAD value, not the appraised value. And I think most people would tell you the appraised value would be higher. But that ranges, those properties range from $6 to $11 per square foot. So the increase over the BCAD value of 2012 is $17.1 million. So it's gone, from 3.1, so a 680% increase in the land value over that period. And I think the more impressive thing is the total BCAD assessed value is $64.1 million. So in a little less than 13 years, we've gone from $3.1 million to $64.1 million on these tracks. So a pretty significant increase based on a $3.1 million infrastructure. Now, a few of these properties are also in a mud. This is mud 34, I think. So some of them are also paying a mud tax on top of of this. And this was paid on a linear feet basis, not a square foot basis, but we just gave you the square foot basis. So that's the Business Center Drive. And then here's just an example of one of the properties. This is the largest property at 10522 Hughes Ranch Road, and it shows you their BCAD assessed value and market value on 16.6 acres. So the Matamidi Tracts, which is a part of the development agreement, is paying the most into the PID, will pay the most into the PID. But then this property is also a very large property also. So its assessment will be around $1.3 million. They've been recently asking a price of about $10 million, or about $13.82. So you can see how, obviously it's a big assessment, but you can also see that the values of properties in this area and along the 288 corridor are pretty high once you get infrastructure, because Business Center Drive is another textbook example. Without infrastructure, we've got $3.8 million in value here. But once these infrastructure's in, you're going to see values shoot up tremendously. So just wrapping up, obviously you have 2 other items after this, but so tonight is just the resolution to create the Public Improvement District, and then the reimbursement agreement with PDC and the development agreement with Rockefeller Acquisitions LLC is their official name. And then if that is, then September 8th, we come back to you with a cost determination resolution where it'll spell out all the cost and all the actual assessments, because the assessment right now is just an estimate. And then you'll call for a public hearing, and then you'll have to have 2 more public hearings in October, where the landowners will all get notification for these public hearings, and they'll have the rights to come to council and visit about what their opinions on the assessment are. And then after that, if it's adopted, then we record the assessment ordinance, and then we'll be off to build an infrastructure. So that's our presentation, Mayor.
All right, thank you for that. We will move to the public input portion of it. We have 2 people that did sign up to speak, so we're going to call on them first before going to the greater room at large. Mayor Pro Tem will call your name. You'll go to the podium, give us your name for the record, and you've got 3 minutes to speak. We should have the clock up on the screens for you to see.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Richard Etchison, thank you for being here. As the mayor said, you state your name for the record at the podium, and you got 3 minutes.
Hello, I'm Richard Atchison. I am the landowner of the largest tract in that group. The improvement of having sewage accessibility dramatically improves my property. Hand over fist. I know the price tag seems a little steep, but the improvement is 4 times that amount, the increased value. I'm very, very much for it. I haven't seen where the water goes in, but I'm sure that's a minor thing. The sewage is the big deal. We're going to work with Rockefeller Group to make everything go as fast as possible. If they need assistance for anything, we want this to happen as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. Mr. Edwards, if you would make your way to the podium, again, state your name for the record, and you have 3 minutes as well. Thank you for being here.
Hi, I'm Paul Edwards, the owner of the tract that is proposed to be excluded from this proposal, and thereby not part of the permitting process. I got a phone call a couple of weeks after after our last meeting, notifying me to that effect. However, this will cause me irreparable harm and damages, because if it's not included in this permit, the value remains stagnant. It will not rise with the other 79 acres, and it will cause me harm because on the edge of a multi-billion-dollar development, inevitably my taxes will rise. So I got depressed values and elevated taxes. I personally am not convinced that the reasons given to me are valid or justifiable, because engineers can do amazing tricks with pipes and sewer lines. I did request clarification at our previous meeting about the legalese and the engineering technicalities, and 2 weeks later I get a phone call. So, I don't know. I think this is punitive, and I think if this permit is going to include, as their initial proposal stated, the entire 80 acres, I'm requesting that you use the power of your office to require that the entire 80 acres are included, and the $70,000 assessment. Okay, I've worked in corporate and I worked in Harris County Economic Development. I've been on both sides of the desk. On the corporate side, all the cost of construction, labor, material supplies go on the expense side of the tax ledger. So they spend it, deduct it. For simple terms, it becomes ghost money. The assessment is hard money. Real dollars goes on the profit side. So we're replacing the ghost money with real money. I don't know if that's right. In some circles, they may call it double dipping. I don't know, I'm not an attorney. But I don't know if this permit should legally sanction these things. And if it becomes a TIERS, a tax reinvestment increment zone, then the city will have to give them back big chunks of the tax revenue. If they get tax abatement with the eligibility of this permit, everybody's taxes go up. So I don't know if you agree with all that. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. Appreciate it. That's all the public comments, sir.
All right, we'll throw it open to the room. Any of those wishing to offer testimony can go to the podium, give us your name. You got 3 minutes to speak. See Mr. Motometti heading that direction.
Good evening, Nick Motometti. My father and I are the owners of the tract which the Rockefeller Group is proposing to do the mixed-use development on. I'm going to keep my comments very brief. We were here a couple months ago and really just want to echo the same sentiment. This is the only option we as a community in this area have. If there was a cheaper option, we would have gone that route. Unfortunately, this is what we have to deal with. And if we don't do anything tonight, the problem doesn't go away. It persists and the cost only goes up. As Matt said, everyone in the city pays for utilities in some way, whether it be a MUD or here as a PID. There is no free lunch, quote unquote. As Matt outlined, the values in the district are going to increase substantially. And to speak specifics, we brought with us, and I can share with you, sold comps on the other side of 288 are between $12 to $15 per square foot with utilities. Our properties are the only remaining tracts in that part of the 288 corridor that are underdeveloped, and with utilities and with the road coming in right now, it is likely that all the tracts will be worth $12 to $15 as well, which makes the PID assessment a minor fraction of the ultimate cost. Without utilities, our properties will be worth just $5, $6 a square foot. Utilities bring the key value. The only other thing I will say is we're here tonight with the overwhelming majority of the district in support. We added Dr. Mia to the petition signers, as well as Mr. Mosley, who was here that night in June 23rd. We're at 79% of the landowners are in support, and I hope tonight that you will approve our request. Thanks so much.
Thank you for that. Second request, those wishing to speak or offer testimony in this public hearing can go to the podium, give us your name. You got 3 minutes to speak. Third and final time, those wishing to offer testimony can go to the podium and offer your testimony. Sir, we've already heard from you.
Okay, I thought.
No, you spoke under the public hearing. We called your name because you had signed up to speak.
Okay.
All right. With that, we will turn to City Council for questions, comments, concerns. I have a couple of questions to put on the record. I don't know anything about ghost money. I've never heard that term. This is hard money that the EDC is putting into this sewer line along with the developer. I think not the next item, would be approving the PID, but subsequent to that, we have a development agreement where the Rockefeller Group would be putting hard money, not ghost money, hard money into this agreement along with the city and the EDC fronting that. So, Trent, I want to ask a couple of questions. One, has there ever been a TERS contemplated, asked for, or applied for on this acreage?
No, sir.
Has there been one contemplated?
No, sir. Not by the city.
Okay. Has there been any comments or questions or requests for tax abatements for the Rockefeller Group?
Do we have a development agreement or with them, or is it just associated?
We have a development agreement, but they've not asked for tax abatement.
And I think it's our policy not to do tax abatements for residential purpose.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. So I just wanted to make sure that there was some questions to those lines put in the public hearing. Want to make sure that we clear that up, that we, I don't think are planning necessarily reimbursements back to Rockefeller Group for doing that. So with that, I'll throw it open for questions, comments, concerns from council.
I had a question too.
Mr. Koza, and I'll come to Ms. Cade next.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't know, Trent, if this is for you or someone else. In this $6.1 million estimate that we have here, since the city is on the hook for anything over that, how comfortable are we with this $6.1 million?
I think the estimate has a little bit of age on it, and we've bid some projects out recently of this nature that have come in pretty good, but that's not a real good predictor of kind of where we are in the market right now. I will point out that the EDC is funding the project, not the city, and so any overruns would be borne by the Pearland Economic Development Corporation.
I understand that the EDC is paying for it. I guess I've got a little heartburn with the engineering firm that's come up with this. We've had some issues with them before on 2 other projects, McCard and Bailey. Do we have a representative from Freese and Nichols here?
I don't believe we do.
Freeze and Nichols won't have anything to do with this after. It was just the initial report that they did, but the developer will have a different engineer on the project.
Well, I understand that, but we came up with a 6.1 million from Freeze and Nichols' opinion of probable construction costs, so
And that's also an estimate at a planning level. I don't believe we've done any detail engineering at this point. So that's, there should be a fair amount of contingency in that as well.
So Matt, are you comfortable with the 6.1 million?
At this point, I think it's the number we need to go through. Obviously, we've been at this. It does have a 25% contingency, and obviously they did give a cost escalation of 5%. So that's where you see at the bottom, it says project total cost for 2025. Obviously, Rockefeller is ready to go on this project. I think they've already started some of the survey at their own risk. So, I'm hopeful that we'd probably get this under, bid out for early 2026. So, I think it's a good number, and it's kind of the number we've committed to the landowners that we thought the cost would be.
Okay. I mean, I appreciate that. It's just, I'm here representing the taxpayers, so I'd like to know, sounds to me, I'm in favor of this development, but when we have this type, commitment, it's a little shaky.
Let me ask a follow-up to that. I know Rockefeller is here tonight. Have you guys, and I'll ask you to go to the podium here in just a second, but has your engineers taken a look at this estimate? Can they offer any guidance on it? Okay. Go ahead and go to the podium. Yeah. And I think the contingency number is probably right at this early stage, 25%. But to your point, let's get some other engineer eyes on this and see what they have to say. Go ahead and introduce yourself for the record, and then we'll ask to have that dialogue.
Absolutely. Tim Wooten with the Rockefeller Group. And to answer your question, yes, we have. We are currently been working with Kimley Horn now for a better part of a year. And they've also done a gut check off of the Freeze and Nichols study during that time. And while they haven't, can't throw a dart on it, they think that it's within the realm of what we can expect.
Okay. So they feel comfortable with it as well. All right.
Yes.
And Mayor and Council, we're also going to be out asking these landowners to sign over, the 10-foot easements as a part of this. So hopefully that will show good faith from the landowners that they're going to, participate, not charge the city for a 10-foot easement along their property.
Okay. Good deal. Any other questions? Was that it? Okay. Any other questions, comment? Ms.
I had one, Mayor. The reason for Mr. Edwards' property being not included was what? There was no.
I believe it was not included because it will not have access where the infrastructure is being built, the sewer infrastructure. It doesn't have direct access.
But all the other lots on here do, even though they're.
That's my understanding, Matt. Is there any?
Yes, all the other
details?
lots do, or they've showed support for the sewer being installed, or they have access to the right of way. To our knowledge, Mr. Edwards does not have access to the roadway, so his property is completely landlocked. So, good example of why we plat, so that properties cannot be subdivided and not have access to a public right of way. Because obviously, if you don't have access to a public right of way, you lack access to utilities that are necessary.
Any other?
But, I understand what he's saying, though. I really do. Looking at this, I'll have to.
So I think there was a request last time not to be included. So there was a reason not to include that piece of property in that it doesn't have access to any public easements or rights of way. So even if we wanted to extend it at this point, we don't have access to that.
Okay. Mr. Carbone?
If you'll pull up the map.
Parcel one.
Yeah. And so the lot in question down there that's hashed out, where's the closest proposed sewer line?
It'd be on Smith Ranch Road 2, which is the road that goes west and east across the site. And that's the road that Rockefeller will also extend water down, and they'll actually build 2 lanes of it.
Okay. So fast forward the tape, 10 years, and how how would you serve that Mr. Edwards property with sewer? Assuming you had easements at some point in the future.
So that's where Wooten Road connects through. Is that correct, Matt? And that would ultimately.
Yeah, but I would say Wooten would
Potentially
probably
be a
be
route.
up here. I don't think Wooten would cut that. I mean, I think Mr. Edwards would have to either work with his neighbors or someday his property will get consumed by his neighboring property and combined into a parcel that has legal access. But, you know, obviously this was not done with this, you know, was done a long time ago. And obviously this is why we plat, to ensure that these kind of situations don't happen. But here's a good example of why we plat. And control the subdivision of ground so these types of things don't happen.
Okay. What about I mean, we don't know any depths of the lines that far away. I mean, would there be enough fall to serve his parcel in the future?
I do not know for sure, but I would defer to Raj if he has a better idea. But I think we thought it would be deep enough to serve all this entire basin.
Yeah, I had the same answer. I don't know that now, but seeing that our lift station is so close by, we should be able to put the proposed center sewer as low as possible to see if we can serve that in future.
Okay. And then an extension, any ballpark on cost versus what, 79K assessment now or potential extension at some point in the future? I guess if I'm in your shoes, Mr. Edwards, that's what I'd be thinking is if there's a place you can fall into and pay for a line later upon development, then you don't pay the assessment now and save that cost. But I have no idea, nowhere near an engineer. But it sounds like what's realistically is to happen is one of the parcels that has access, both road and utilities, will have to acquire his property, or else you'll sit there completely landlocked. And that's unfortunately, that's a problem you're facing with or without this PID. Okay. I guess, can you clearly state why we're having the second public hearing? Because I don't know that we fully understand, because
I think there was a lot of confusion last time about when interest would be charged, whether interest would be charged, who would be charged the interest. So we just wanted to go back over these payment options to make sure everyone understood. And I thought to reassure council what the options were for the landowner before you voted on this. And obviously these will be more formalized when we come back in September with the actual assessment plan.
okay. I mean, I hear that, but there wasn't much confusion from the speaker last time as to when interest starts. And so I think as it was stated, and somebody step in and correct me, it was incorrectly stated the first round that interest would start upon a plat or sale in the future, where it's stated in all the documents and everything that as soon as the infrastructure essentially is there on the ground, we accept it, that's when the interest clock starts. So that's even why we're having this second public hearing. And so I just wanted that to be completely out there on the record. I'm still in supportive of it, but that's a huge change from the first go round, unless I missed something.
Yeah, that'd be accurate, sir.
So to Matt or Trent, either one, we did have a request tonight from Mr. Edwards to be included into it. I understand he doesn't have road access. But if we did, obviously that changed the calculation, a small change to the calculation per acre, because you've got another acre that's going into it. Would that be something, if this council chose to include him, could they do that in the agenda item directly after this?
I'd defer and let Abdi say what his opinion of that is.
As long as that property was included in the original petition that was received.
Which it was.
Yeah, and the property owner consents that, now, one thing I want to say is the PID Act has a provision in it that says a property has to get a direct and special benefit from an improvement in order to be assessed. So what the engineers have established is that Mr. Edwards' property does not have, at least as it stands right now, a direct access to it. But despite that, if Mr. Edwards is willing to basically, agree to the assessment, because as a landowner, he'll sign a landowner certificate at the time of assessment levy, then yeah, as long as it was part of the original petition, the original district, boundary, it can be re-included.
Okay, so we could include him, is what I'm hearing. And again, that's we can get into the next next segment and we can ask directly, but we gotten last time to be out, this time to be in, and so we're about to make that determination. So with that, any other questions, comments? Oh, Mr. Koza.
Yes, in regards to the reflection bay, as far as capacity that's left open, do we know what this development will utilize, whatever open capacity it might have?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
So currently we have reflection bay. I don't know how many million gallons a day it can do as far as process. How many, what's available in the capacity? What is this project going to put in that basin?
So it looks like that the firm capacity of the proposed lift station is going to be 0.8 MGD. So I believe we do have the capacity in the plant.
And I was just curious to know, kind of, are we at 50% and this is not going to put much of a dent, or are we at,
I don't have that number off the top of my head. It's something we can provide. It looks like Zach may be able to answer that.
Councilmember Koza, Reflection Bay is running around about 3 to 3.5 million gallons a day. So yes, we do have the capacity at Reflection Bay.
Okay, and what is that full capacity that it operates?
It's permitted at 6 million,
okay.
6 million gallons a day.
Okay, so we're in the 50 to slightly over 50. That's what I was curious to know. All right, and then one question that I did want to ask Mr. Mohammedi, if he'd go to the podium. I know through this process on the commercial part of it, are we still looking at the one piece being developed either in conjunction with or right after? Is that still what the...
Yeah, actually, in this deal, Rockefeller actually is going to be buying the commercial tract as well and developing at the same time as the multifamily.
Okay, and sir, if you could go up there, I'm sorry, I didn't know that. Thank you.
Yes, just to answer your question, we are going to be building that commercial tract. I believe the PD calls for 6,000 square feet commercial building in parallel with our multifamily project.
That's all. I was just, it's been consistent at the beginning. I didn't know who, how. So I just want to make sure. Thank you.
All right. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, we will close this public hearing and move to new business item number 2. Ms. Chavarria, would you place that on the table, please?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Consideration possible action, resolution number R 2025-38. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We've had opportunity for questions, comments, as well as staff report. I do want to ask a question, though. We're not here to give legal advice or development advice, but we do have somebody who was out, who was in, requested to be out, and tonight has asked to be in. So I'd like Mr. Edwards, if you'd go ahead and go to the podium, I'd like to ask you a question. And I'm going to do my best not to give you legal advice, but may give you some development advice, if that's okay. Tonight, in your previous testimony, you requested to be included back into it. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, looking at the maps, I'm just going to spell this out for a second. When you look at the maps, the roadways that the Rockefellers will be putting in, that Smith Ranch Road number 2, I think it is, still does not touch your property even once it's put in. It's put in with I would assume the Rockefeller Group, once closing on this property, it's part of their property. So to develop your tract, you would have to do, this is with or without the assessment, just take that assessment completely off the table. With or without the assessment, you've got to provide access as well as water and sewer to your tract to develop it, or you have to go in with the other developers and either sell or partner or do something, with them, because you don't have access to the tract. And in order to develop in the city of Pearland, you've got to have direct access. Is that correct, Mr. Coker?
That is correct.
So if you get hit with the assessment, that's something you're going to pay later and still have to provide access to your property. If you leave it out, at least you're not paying the assessment, but you can have access to sell your properties or do something without providing access. So it's a double-edged sword. You can stay out. If it were me, I would stay out. But that's you asked for both. You asked for one last time, you've asked for the other tonight, and I want to be fair to you. I think this council will do whatever you ask to do, either put you in or leave you out. But I wish we'd have had the opportunity before tonight to have had this part of the conversation.
So do I.
Yeah.
I'm not an engineer, but I have an idea. Could access to my tract be co-joined with the same access to a neighboring tract?
Yeah, so you would have to gain access through someone else's tract. And that's done either through agreements. They don't have to grant it to you. It could be done in any number of ways, but you would have to work with a neighboring property owner to gain access, whether it's to the north, to the south, to the east, or the west. You've got properties all the way around you, and you would have to gain that access through one of them. That would be conditional or approved through the city. We have certain ways of access.
Would I be able to grant an easement as the road is put in? Would I be able to grant an easement so that access can indeed?
And it would be through a neighboring property owner, not through the city. You'd be working with the neighboring property owners to get a access easement into your property. And the only reason I'm saying all this is that access and creating that access and building that access, I will tell you, is way more than the assessment.
How do I, okay, this is kind of like new information. So is council available to share any creative ideas with me beyond this proceeding?
Mayor, can I ask a quick
Yeah,
question?
yeah.
If we exclude Mr. Edwards' property tonight, does that preclude him in the future from attaching to the sewer improvements?
I've got Lawrence.
No, sir. It's Lawrence from Legal back here. It would not preclude him from attaching to it. However, there may be a cost to extend to it that would be his cost to extend to it, just like it is now. So this PID will not change that. And just because you did this by a PID doesn't mean that people can't also connect to that PID or that line that was paid for by the PID, as long as that line has the capacity to attach that. Right. So it's absolutely possible for him to connect to that sewer line, but he would have to extend the line from where his property is to wherever that line exists.
How many feet are we talking about here? Linear or square?
I don't know the answer to that question, sir.
I'm not sure if Matt can pull that up on the map and give you a quick question. But what I don't want to do is create a situation where we've injured someone unintendedly, in a situation like this. So
yeah, the distance isn't going to be that great. It's more of a gaining the access through the adjacent property owners.
Mayor, can I ask you something? Or ask you one?
225 feet.
Yeah, it's 200 feet, 210 feet. And, sewer line and everything else, but the access to it, you can get it up next to someone, but they don't have to grant it to you. So that's a negotiation between you and a landowner next door to you. I'm trying to, what I'm trying to guide you in is being in the district may actually harm you more than being out of it. You can still get water and sewer access. You can still get access to your property. You got to go through the property owners next door to you, but you don't have the assessment on top of it.
Being located on the very edge of a multi-billion-dollar development, how might it affect my taxes regardless?
That's a question up to the Central Appraisal District, not us. We don't assess the value, so I'm not sure what the value around you is going to do. Not having direct access to your property from a roadway is actually going to be a negative driver for your access or for your assessments, for your values. So I'm giving you advice on how you fight your taxes. You don't have access, so that would actually help you, not rise in value. If you had direct access, to water and sewer, your property assessment would go up.
I see.
Yeah. So I wanted to go through that because two different questions, and I wish we could have had the conversation prior to tonight, Mr. Edwards, but I wanted to make sure that we were fair in answering your questions. So I'm going to move on.
Thank you for bringing that to light. Thank you.
Trent or Darren, Lawrence, somebody, if we include him, he's on the hook for the $79,000 and he gets no sewer, no water, and no road.
That's correct.
That is correct, because he doesn't have access.
Thank you.
Right. He would still have to run it. Right. Yeah. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, Madam Secretary, we'll call for the vote.
Member Chavarria?
Aye.
Member Cade?
No.
Member Fernandez?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Byram?
Aye.
Member Koza?
Aye.
Member Carbone?
Aye.
The motion passes 5-1.
All right. With that, we'll move to item number 3. Mr. Byram, would you present this, please?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, consideration possible action, resolution number R2025-93. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Staff report.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is the item that actually approves the development agreement between the city and Rockefeller Group associated with the construction and funding of the wastewater improvements we just discussed. And it also includes authorizing the reimbursement agreement between the city and the Pearland Economic Development Corporation, passing those funds from the EDC through the city to the developer for that infrastructure to be built.
Okay. Throw it open for questions, comments from council. Mr. Carbone?
Yep. 1 second, Mr. Mayor. We do have someone signed up for public comments. That's Mr. Wooten. I'm assuming maybe you're just here to answer questions if needed, or did you go ahead? Yeah, you make your way to the podium, and just for consistency's sake, if you want to state your name for the record a second time this evening, you got 3 minutes. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Council. Tim Wooten with the Rockefeller Group. Just wanted to say a few words on this agreement. I want to thank the EDC that has worked with us for the better part of a year on figuring out how to best execute this whole enterprise. It's been a long one, but it's been one that we've in full cooperation with the EDC. We feel we've got a good, equitable agreement to go and help contribute and do our part to Pearland. This is ROC's first agreement with a municipal entity in Texas, so this is a milestone for us that we don't take lightly. And if I may, just to go back to the previous matter, in the spirit of making sure that everyone in this pit is equitably reimbursed, that tracks that you guys just mentioned, Mr. Edwards, is the one that we will be eventually taking down. Now, I can't comment on cost or what it will bring over, but I'm sure if pending engineering and from the city, there's no issues, and we'd be happy to try to grant you access, if that's something you would like.
Okay. Let's let y'all have that discussion afterwards, but I appreciate the gesture and the sentiment.
Absolutely. Yeah. And anyway, that's all I have. Thank you for your time.
Right. Any other questions, comments before us? Mr. Koza?
Yeah, I had a question. Here it talked about the development agreement valued at $49 million within 5 years. If it's not, how does that work as far as payments made? Is it annually if it's not there? Is it one-time payment? How exactly does that work?
Matt, you
I
have that?
believe they would have to pay it annually until they met the term of the agreement or their value exceeded the $49 million.
So did I hear you correctly? You said they will be paying the deficit in perpetuity until it hit 49 million?
There is a term, though. It's not forever.
Well, until it hits
yeah.
that value is what I said, until it hit the 49 million.
Yeah, so
I mean,
if their value is only 48 million, they would pay the difference the following year.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it could be multiple years. That's
It could be, correct.
That's what I'm just trying to clarify.
It's a minimum.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, we'll, Madam Secretary, we'll call for the vote.
Mayor Pro Tem Byram,
Aye.
Member Koza,
Aye.
Member Carbone,
Aye.
Member Chavia,
Aye.
Member Cade,
Aye.
Member Fernandez.
Aye.
The motion passes 6-0.
All right, with that, Ms. Cade, if you'll take up number 4.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. Consideration and possible action, resolution number R 2025-135. So moved.
Second.
Motion, we had a motion, a second, staff report.
Thank you, Mayor. So this item does a couple of things. It sets the public hearing date on the budget for fiscal year 2026 on September 8th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. Additionally, this resolution also places on the agendas of September 8th and September 22nd the proposed budget for fiscal year 26. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, with that, we'll throw it to council for questions, comments, concerns. Seeing none, Madam Secretary, call for the vote.
Member Cade,
Aye.
Member Fernandez,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Byram,
Aye.
Member Koza,
Aye.
Member Carbone,
Aye.
Member Chavia.
Aye.
The motion passes 6-0.
All right, with that, Mr. Fernandez, if you would place 5 on the table, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Consideration and possible action, resolution number R2025-136. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, staff report.
Thank you, Mayor. Like the item that just passed, this is another part of the annual budgeting process where we have to set our public hearings as well as max tax rate and public hearings for the tax rate itself. So this item does those 3 things. It sets the maximum tax rate at 63.5. It sets the public hearing for that tax rate on September 22nd, and then sets the dates for consideration of the tax rate on September 8th and September 22nd. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, throw it open for questions, comments, concerns from council. Mr. Carbone?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So the maximum, as it's written tonight, is .635. The budget we reviewed at the special meeting was .630.
That's correct. So we wanted to allow a half cent in there if council wanted to do any additional infrastructure or other things with the budget that were not already in there.
Okay. Do we, I'm going to make a motion in a second to reduce that. Does it need to reflect the a changed percentage?
Yes. So if there was a motion to amend this to 63, the proposed budget, we would have to have a specific resolution there. So
What would that percent be?
So that percent would be a revenue increase of 1.7% above the no new revenue rate.
All right, well, Mayor, I'll make a motion to amend this to set the maximum at .630, which is 1.7% above the no new revenue rate.
Second.
We have a motion to amend with a second. Any questions, comments on the motion to amend?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I would be in favor of leaving it at .635 as the maximum for now. I think, as we discussed during the special budget meeting that we had, we know that there's multiple areas that we are short on funding for infrastructure, for roads, IT, various different places. So I think I would rather see it stay at the .635 and give us the headroom to discuss how we allocate those funds. If we can properly fund the things that are within our priorities within the .63, then awesome. I would love to get there, but at least I think it would be wise on our part to give ourselves the room to discuss that and therefore leave it at the .635.
Any other questions, comments? Chavaria, were you? Thought you were reaching.
No, I mean, I agree with you that we should keep it at the current rate.
Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, Madam Secretary, we're going to vote on the motion to amend, and that motion was to change to .630, which is 1.70% over the no new revenue. Call for the vote on the motion to amend.
Member Carbone?
Aye.
Member Chavarria?
No.
Member Cade?
Aye.
Member Fernandez?
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Byram?
No.
Member Koza?
Aye.
Mayor.
Chair votes no.
The motion fails 3-4.
And just to explain that, I'd rather give us options. I think we'll end up at 630 when we pass the budget. But I just want to make sure over the next month that we give ourselves options if we need something. So with that, we have a motion on the table. Any other questions and comments on the regular motion? So the regular motion is going to be .635. Madam Secretary, we'll call for the vote.
Member Fernandez?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Byram?
Aye.
Member Koza?
Nay.
Member Carbone?
No.
Member Chavarria?
Aye.
Member Cade?
No.
Chair votes aye.
The motion passes 4-3.
All right. With that, we'll move to item number 6. Mr. Koza, back to you.
Yes, Mayor, consideration possible action, resolution number R2025-104. So moved.
This is just, hang on a second. We're not voting on it. No, we're not voting on it. We're voting to set it. The max rate. Real quick, there was a question on the, up here, not on the motion itself, and there was questions on whether or not we had to be at a 60% for that vote. And the answer is no, because we're not actually voting on the tax rate or the budget. We're simply setting the maximum tax rate that we could go to.
That is correct. When we get to the September 8th and September 22nd vote on the actual tax rate, it would require, as long as it's over no new revenue, would require 60%.
Right. All right. So we have a motion. We got a second on the table. Staff report.
Thank you, Mayor. So this item awards a construction contract for the Veterans 2 Regional Lift Station Rehabilitation Project. This rehabs the 20-year-old lift station and brings it up to current regional lift station standards, which includes backup generator, odor control, and SCADA, as well as your normal rehabilitation type things like linings and coatings and piping and pumps. We received multiple bids and we're recommending to proceed with the low bidder. That was reviewed and references were checked. Therefore, we recommend award to McDonald Municipal and Industrial, the amount of $2,025,817. Thank you, Mayor.
All right. With that, we will bring it to council for questions, comments, concerns. Mr. Koza.
Thank you, Mayor. As far as replacement cost, total replacement cost for a lift station like this, what would we be looking at?
Complete, like build a brand new one?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at $2 million expenditure. Is it half? Is it 10%? Is it 90%? What's the?
Anybody want to take a guess at a ballpark?
It was $10 or $12 when it was $10 or $12 million when it was built, which was in 07-08 timeframe.
It was 20 years ago. It's been in operation since about 2005.
Okay, so
and
do that inflation rate.
Okay,
It's
well,
more than
yeah,
double.
so
No, that's I'm just curious.
No, I'm trying to back into it.
It would be substantially more, in the order of probably, 4+ times.
Yeah.
And that original number that the mayor recalls, did not include a backup generator or odor control, which we're adding through this project. So significantly more.
I was just curious to know kind of.
I remember at the time we referred to it as the mother of all lift stations.
Oh, okay.
It was the biggest one that we'd ever built to that point in time.
Fair enough. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, it was big.
Yeah, it's been a while since we built one this size, so I don't think think we have a good reference right now.
Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, Madam Secretary, call for the vote.
Member Koza,
Aye.
Member Carbone,
Aye.
Member Chavia,
Aye.
Member Cade,
Aye.
Member Fernandez,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Byram.
Aye.
The motion passes 6-0.
All right, with that, back to you, Mr. Carbone, if you'd place number 7 on the table.
Thank you, Mayor. Consideration and possible action, Resolution R 2025-134. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Staff report.
Thank you, Mayor. This item approves the purchase of equipment and installation services for new playground equipment, as well as a new splash pad at Southdown Park. We procured this through cooperative vendors and solicited multiple proposals. And Craftsman Commercial, who is recommended here, they based their comprehensive proposal best met the design and what we wanted to accomplish with this project, and incorporated both the playground and splash pad as a turnkey project. This project is funded in the FY25 budget utilizing park development funds, which are funds collected from development to be used only for park uses. So that was in this last budget. And if you recall, when we passed that, we included this so that we'd be built out of park development funds as opposed to using general fund or property tax dollars. So with that, we recommend award to Craftsman Commercial Playground in the amount of $910,464. Thank you.
All right. Any questions, comments from council? Seeing no one, Madam Secretary, call for the vote.
Member Carbone,
Aye.
Member Chavia,
Aye.
Member Cade,
Aye.
Member Fernandez,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Byram,
Aye.
Member Koza.
Aye.
The motion passes 6-0.
All right. Thank you for that. With that, we will move forward in our agenda. Other business, there was none. After our new business, mayor council issues for city council discussion. There's no items listed. So with that, we'll move and recess into executive session under Texas Government Code Section 551.074, deliberation regarding the appointment of a municipal court associate judge, and Section 551.074, deliberation regarding the roles and responsibilities of the municipal court judge. With that, we'll recess at 7:53.
That was so fast.
He said, wait. Oh, got it? All right. All right, City Council has come out of executive session at 8:14. With that, we'll move to new business item continued. Mr. Carbone, do you have a motion on number 8?
I do, Mayor. Thank you. I'll move that we appoint candidates Smith, Carter, and Diaz to 2-year terms as municipal court associate judges.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Madam Secretary, we call for the vote.
Member Carbone?
Aye.
Member Chavadilla?
Aye.
Member Cade?
Aye.
Member Fernandez?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Byram?
Aye.
Member Koza?
Aye.
The motion passes 6-0.
All right, moving to item number 9. Mr. Carbone, do you have a motion on that one?
Yes. Do you want me to go ahead? Yes. Mayor, after discussion exec session, staff recommends a motion authorizing modifications to the municipal court judge's job description to clarify the fact that the juvenile case manager does not fall under the supervision of the municipal court judge, but does report information to the judge, but it does not supervise the case manager.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Madam Secretary, call for the vote.
Mayor Pro Tem Byram?
Aye.
Member Koza?
Aye.
Member Carbone?
Aye.
Member Chavadilla?
Aye.
Member Cade? Member Fernandez?
Aye.
The motion passes 6-0.
All right, with that, we'll move to adjournment at 8:16.